Here to celebrate my good friend finishing Mount Elbert, the second highest peak in the contiguous U.S. and the highest peak in the Rocky Mountains. Congratulations.
Yep.
Congratulations. So what happened today? It was a hell of a day.
Windy, it started raining, and then it started snowing, and then it started hailing, then it started sleeting, and then it went back to hailing, and then went back to rain, and then by the time I was maybe 2 miles out, the hailstones got pretty big, at least this big. I mean, it got to the point where it started to accumulate like snow. And then basically I just got pelted by those better part of like a mile. And then finally, in the last bit out, it was raining.
So it was not a sunny day for a hike. It's not walking.
It was sunny when I was at the summit, and it was sunny probably from like 13,900 to the summit, I'd say.
So it was not a walk in the park.
It was not a walk in the park. It was...
Do you think this shirt is well appointed on his wearer? Do you think this shirt is fitting for you to wear?
I did not climb the peak of the Rocky Mountain National Park, but I wouldn't have anyways. It's a hard peak. One of those things where if you're not properly acclimatized, like doing difficult moves, like I just put it this way, right? Like the top part of Mission Peak, where sometimes you even have to put your hand down to like stabilize yourself. Doing that at 14,000 feet sucks a lot. That's what they don't tell you. So when you see those crazy ass mountains, understand that like, you added the elevation, it makes it like easily 15,000 times harder. It's so much worse. Because every step you take makes you nauseous. Except now, if you have exposure, you're doing class 3 moves. If you fall, you're dead.
Yikes.
Yeah.
What was the best part of your trip today, apart from just the accomplishment? What was the coolest, thing you've seen? Or
So when you're climbing Elbert, for the first 2,000 feet, you're completely inside the trees. Can't see shit. There's a creek at the bottom. It's kind of nice, but like it's nothing you haven't. A lot of time you don't know how far you're going. I had my inReach, so I kept checking to see what my altitude is, to see if like am I making any progress, like where am I at. About 11,000 or 12. I think it's either 11,600 or 12,100. One of those 2 points. You basically clear the trees altogether. That's where the tree line is. And the minute you clear those trees, you're in the summit push, right? It's going to take a lot of time to get to the summit from there, but you can see it. It's always visible. No matter what you do, you always see it.
Not a false summit, but the real summit.
False summit initially, but then after a while, the real summit becomes visible. But initially, you see this false summit. You know it's the ridge for the real summit, if that makes sense. So you know that where you're going to isn't the actual summit, but that there's a further summit that goes a little bit down, further to the left from there.
Sure.
Long story short, the minute you clear the trees and you start looking down into the valley between, I think it's a Sawatch Range and I want to say a Mosquito Range, and you start to realize like how high up you are, because you're easily at least 2,000-3,000 feet over the valley.
You see the Twin Lakes, right?
Yeah, exactly. You see everything and you're just like, whoa. And the thing is that especially if you go on a day where there are storms forecast or there are other things going on weather-wise, you get these interesting formations where the clouds start to form below you, actually. So when I was climbing up, I was climbing through the clouds for a long time. And then I got to a point where I got over the clouds. That was roughly when I crossed the tree line. So you have these beautiful mountains with the clouds at the bottom, and that's a true Colorado experience.
To climb above the clouds like an IFR flight, to break through the clouds.
Exactly. It really felt like IFR, because you're looking down, you see the cloud layer. Now that cleared, right? But towards the end of the day, that cloud layer burned off. Thunderstorm layer kind of set in on the top. That's where we got all the hail from. And that's also what may have been given the sleet. It's hard to tell, but because it went from snow to sleet kind of thing. It's weird. It was like, so the way sleet works is it's kind of like larger snow pellets, but hail is like ice pellets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely like sleet going on at one point, but I thought it was hail. But then the guy next to me, he grew up in somewhere in the Midwest. He was telling me it was sleet. So basically what ended up happening, well, essentially it was sunny, in between punctuated with just weird weather. So,
how would you have made this hike easier? What would have made it easier apart from acclimating? What else? Would you have better shoes, better tools, lighter pack?
Lighter pack, maybe. Like, there's nothing I could have done to make this hike easier. Maybe be in like slightly better shape, but the reality is that every single person I saw going up there, 99% of the reason they couldn't make it or the 99% of the reason that they're just sending it was all altitude. Like the locals, they were running up the mountain. Everybody who I met who were in my like class, they're all from sea level towns, and they all acclimatized in Leadville. They all acclimatized in Denver for a couple of days, and made no flying difference. Everybody just got screwed. Like the people I knew from, I met some people from Missouri, Alabama, from other parts of California, like near the south, and other like East Coast states as well. None of them like were moving really fast. It was basically like you take 5 steps, you get nauseous, you sit down, and then at over 13,500, probably 13,000 actually, you take 1 step, you get nauseous. So you don't take you do your best to like go as slow as possible. And I mean you don't like throwing up wouldn't help it, if that makes sense. This isn't like one of those like, you know, eat bad food nausea. This is just like innate nausea. It's weird. It's like you can't alleviate this by throwing up. If anything, when you throw up, that's a good sign you should probably go down